Hi Cancer, this is your August 2017 horoscope with me, Lada from astrolada.com. And as you know, it's eclipse season. We have 2 eclipses in August, and eclipses are here to make changes in our lives, big changes. And those 2 eclipses that are happening are on the axis of the 2nd and 8th house for you. The first one is on the 7th of August, the second one is on the 21st of August, and they will basically, they're not falling in your sign, guys, but still they can affect certain areas of your life. So if you have your ascendant or sun or even moon in Cancer, how are those eclipses going to affect you? And bear in mind that eclipses, when they happen, they give their results not immediately. Sometimes it can be felt immediately, but over the next few months. And the most intense influence of an eclipse is for the next 40 days. So after the eclipse, so big part of August, big part of September, you'll be feeling very strongly those eclipses in regards to your finances in particular. Because they're happening on the axis 2nd, 8th house. Your money, other people's money. Your resources, other people's resources. And the lunar eclipse is in Aquarius, in your 8th house, which is resources that come to you from others. Whether it's your husband, whether it's your business partner, whether it's a bank, whether it's a loan, or even it might not be only financial resources, it might be moral, not only material, but moral support of some sort that comes to you from others. And this lunar eclipse is about letting things go, because it's with the south node. So you might be asked after this lunar eclipse for the next 2 or 3 months even, to let go of certain source of income that's reliant on others. Maybe a business partner of yours or a client of yours you might lose, for example, and you have to let go of that, because this is what an eclipse with the south node requires. Let go of certain support you're receiving from, whether it's your parents, whether it's your husband, whether it's your bank, to let go of those these resources that come. And you might not do it consciously, it might be forced on you. Like, for example, your parents say, we're no longer going to be paying your bills, or your partner might be switching jobs, so for a few months they might not have the regular income that you're used to for the mutual resources together. Or you might have to let go of a certain grant, or you might have to let go of, say, someone else that's supporting you, that's giving you material resources of some sorts or moral. Be prepared for that, let it go more easily. But the solar eclipse that's happening in your 2nd house, this is your own personal resources and your own personal resourcefulness, is indicative of gains, because it's with the north node, Rahu. And solar eclipses indicate new beginnings, powerful new beginnings. So even though you might be letting go of some source of income that's more dependent on others, you'll be creating one that is more independent, that's more reliant on yourself, on your own resourcefulness, on your own skills, for example. And so stay tuned after the solar eclipse on the 21st of August, even a little bit before that you might start feeling it. And for the next 6 months, because the solar eclipse has an effect for 6 months, that you might find yourself personally can find new source of income from somewhere, and you might as well and what can help you in regards to that, let me think. It's happening in your 2nd house in Leo, and the 10th house, Uranus is making a trine aspect to the solar eclipse in your 2nd house. So new money, new resources can come to you over the next 6 months that you think of on your own. And what can help you is like the 10th house, where Uranus is helping this solar eclipse from the 10th houses. This will improve your social status. This can be through a new job, through a new career direction, for example, because the 10th house rules these things. And it can be some authority figure or a father figure that can help you to secure a new resource. So if you need more resources, more money, more finances, approach people in high standing positions, the 10th house. They will help you. or approach your boss, for example. You might want to increase in salary, approach them. There is harmonious aspect between Uranus, planet in your 10th house of authority figures and bosses, and the eclipse in your 2nd house of money. These people will help you, or you might have a new idea for the direction of your business or your career, or there might be a change in your social status that helps you in regards to starting generating new resources. But as I said, there might be these things might be preceded by some crisis, because lunar eclipses create crisis, and crisis means a change. Crisis is something that surprises us, that it kind of shakes us a little bit, but it's for the good, especially the eclipse in the 2nd house, because it will, as I said, it will lead to more self-sufficiency, more independence for yourself, relying on your own resources rather than on other people's resources. So this is about the eclipses. And by the way, a lot of Cancers will have a planet in Leo. So if you have, say, Venus in Leo from around the 25th to around the 30th degree of Leo, in the last 5 degrees of Leo, check out from the planetary detail table on my birth chart calculator, guys. If you happen to have a planet in Leo, because usually if your Sun is in Cancer, Venus or Mercury very often will be in Leo, sometimes in Gemini or in Cancer. But if you happen to have planets in Leo in the last 5 degrees of Leo, the eclipse will directly affect those planets. So if you happen to have Venus there might be a totally new beginning in your love life. There might be a totally new beginning in your relationships of some sort. Totally new beginnings with some female energy as well. Venus rules female energies. If it's Mercury, it might be totally new beginnings and some kind of crisis that happens with Mercury is friends, Mercury is work responsibilities as well. Mercury is some kind of a project connected to speaking, writing, communication, administrative or business activities. So that can become gainful in the long term for you. But also, again, remember that usually is preceded by some mini crisis. There might be like a mini crisis happening in your business, Mercury, with siblings or relatives, Mercury, or if it's Venus, with your love life of some sort. And money, Venus also rules money. And this crisis pushes you in a new direction. So be prepared for those things. Don't resist them, because it becomes more painful. Then another thing that's happening is that throughout the whole of August, the Sun and Mars are also in your 6th house, which means you can be spending more money, because these are masculine energies that, they give more rather than receive. So 2nd house is resources. Instead of, you'll be more inclined, instead of keeping your resources, to be spending them. So it's good time to spend. You have like this impulse to spend as well. Be careful as well not to overspend, of course. Impulse buying, Mars can create that. But also they give you the initiative, because they're masculine planets too. Together with the solar eclipse in Leo in your 2nd house, the initiative to go after things that you desire to possess and to have. Material things usually, and it will give you the drive, the ambition to go after new sources of finances, to go after new sources of material and physical and sensual experiences as well. 2nd house rules sensual pleasures of any sort and material gains. So yeah, that makes you quite proactive in regards to that. Just be careful for overspending. And it might be out of the blue that it appears, so that you just want to spend, on fun things, because they're in Leo, the sign of fun, or on big things. Leo rules like big, grand stuff. Okay, so what else? We have Venus in your sign. The whole of August, the planet of beauty is in your sign, Cancer, and the planet of love. So despite of this rough energy of the eclipses, which is always kind of gives a sense of foreboding, even if nothing is really changing in your life, it's always, especially Cancers, they're so sensitive to eclipses, lunar and solar, because they're both formed by the moon. And the Sun, and the moon rules Cancer. So they often can have an uneasy feeling within themselves, and kind of feeling a bit more, tense or worried, as if something's about to change, even if nothing does, but they tend to feel it strongly. So how can you soothe yourself? Because Venus is the soother. Well, Venus comes to help you. It's in your own 1st house. So do pleasant things for your body. The 1st house is the body, is yourself. Go to a spa, to a massage, do some shopping therapy, but remember the Sun and Mars can make you spend too much in the second house. You'd be more likely as well to indulge in pleasant things, and you'd be more likely to experience more love towards others, more love towards yourself as well, because Venus is in your sign, the planet of love, to pamper yourself, to take care of yourself in a loving way. And it makes us also feel more beautiful when Venus is in our sign, and Venus is like a magnet. When it's in your sign, it starts attracting like a magnet to you pleasant things, Venusian things, whether it's more sensual pleasures, whether it's even love, whether it's and I'm not saying all cancers will meet love, but if you're single, or even if you're not single, definitely you'll get more attention, you'll feel more attractive, you'd feel more in the flow, and some of you might even meet someone important and have very enjoyable, sensual, and romantic experiences. And the last thing that's happening is that Mercury is going retrograde in Cancer, in your third house. So you might have to re-examine and edit certain writing projects, speaking projects, something to do with business administration. You might have to work extra hard there, because whenever we get a retrograde Mercury, we have to put 3 times more effort in that house, especially effort which is to do with writing, speaking, revising, editing, you know. But by the end, third house rules commercial projects, commercial and business activities of any sort. So you might be more hectic, having to fix some mistakes that are coming that you have to fix, to edit. And by the end of this process, when Mercury is direct again, you'd see better and more lasting results, and you'd be happier with the final product, which is connected again to speaking, writing, to communication, to business, commercial activities of any sort, to social activities. Third house rules social media as well. So you might have to be editing, doing something over and over a few times, correcting it, which can be a bit frustrating. And you might have to have some important conversation. Third house rules communication with siblings, with relatives, with neighbors, with colleagues, having to work extra hard on something with those people, whether to discuss something, whether to work on details, some kind of, because Virgo is, Mercury is in Virgo, which is a practical, work-oriented sign. So especially in regards to if it's something to do with your work, if you're working in a small group environment or with other people, you might have to, there might be some mini crisis that you have to address to improve. This is what retrograde planet wants, to improve it, and then the final outcome will be much better, even though while in the process of it, it might be a bit stressful and require more of your efforts. And also some important conversations might be happening. Again, I repeat, especially with people from your close environment, associates, business or personal associates, people you spend time with, siblings, brothers, sisters, relatives. There might be some kind of a falling through, re-examination of those relationships. I had Mercury retrograde in my third house in the spring, and there was a re-examination of a relationship with an associate of mine. Third house rules associates, and it fell apart. If it doesn't work, it will fall apart, and you would end it. And if it works, you would renegotiate the conditions of the relationships and the responsibilities and improve it, so both sides are happier after that. Okay, so that's what I see for you, Cancers. Thank you so much, and I will see you next month. Again, we're starting from September the webinars. We're going to have a webinar all about Chiron with Dr. Diana Bakalova. She's a psychologist, and we're going to have a webinar with Mike Amato, I think in August even, about the mindset of wealth and how to create it. He's a very successful business person and banker. And we're going to have a webinar with Trifon Nikolov about the lunar mansions, the nakshatras. So stay tuned for all the new courses, exciting stuff. Oops.